This is environmental concerns when you're talking about motion detectors, and this is in particular for dual tech motions. Do I not have an option to make it bigger? I could really use one. I can give you guys this as well. And this is available on my web tech, so you can go on there and find this. But fluorescent lights can sometimes interfere with the ability of motions to detect motion. In particular, the microwave portion of it. So if you are going to put one of these kind of motions in where there is fluorescent lighting, there's actually a fluorescent light filter feature. The microwave in some of these dual techs can interfere with certain network routers because of the frequency. This tells you the frequencies that are used. So 2.54 gigahertz, 10.525 gigahertz, and 24.125 gigahertz, respectively. So, if you have a 5G router, you want to stay away from that frequency. And then there's a feature called environmental adaptation, which means that the microwave basically learns as it sits there, and it can sometimes adapt itself for certain environmental features, like maybe, I don't know, a plant that moves when the air comes on, or something, a curtain that moves when the air comes on, something like that. Ceiling fans, as their example. We all know about bugs and animals and their ability to set off motions. So this is just talking about picking out a motion that has pet immunity and or the bug guard feature. One of the things I think is interesting is this thing about reflective surfaces. Infrared energy can be reflected off of any glossy surface, such as mirrors, windows, floors with a glossy finish, and slick finish concrete. Some surfaces will reflect less than others. An example is detectors can see a change in infrared energy reflected off of any reflective surface, even if the heat or cold source is not within the detection pattern of the detector. So you could be standing outside the motion's field of view, and and your infrared energy could bounce off the floor and trip the motion anyway, is what they're getting at. So, windows, heat and air registers. You know that if you put a motion near a heat or air register and it comes on, it can, if it's an intake, it can, pull the curtains toward it, the blinds, whatever. If it's a register that blows out, it can do the same thing, obviously. Swaying objects like decorations, especially in commercial environments where they might hang stuff from the ceiling or have balloons or streamers or things like that. Those are all things that can cause motions to trip. Warm environments. There are some motion detectors that have that another environmental adaptation feature where, even though it's not technically heat that the motion is sensing, there is a heat element to it, and if the room that you're trying to protect is somewhere in the neighborhood of 98 degrees, then it can be difficult to see a change in infrared energy when a person comes in. So,
what about like garages here in Florida? They get really hot.
That would be a warm environment. So aside from the kind of difficulty of detecting in that environment, you also have to worry about the operating temperature of your devices, because solder melts at a pretty low temperature, like 120 some degrees, and you can just cook your motion if it gets hot enough. Make sure it has the advanced dual slope temperature compensation. That's the feature, also known as bidirectional temperature compensation. If the unit's in an environment where ambient temperatures are close to human body temperature and cannot compensate for it, then it may not be able to detect. So it would fail to detect when a person might actually be there. Vibrations, you want to try to mount your motions on solid walls that are not going to vibrate a whole lot, maybe not right next to a door where somebody might slam the door, not on like columns that are in the middle of a room or in an area. And then of course doors, you guys know, sometimes you have to aim a motion at a door and the actual door will trip the motion before it sees that the door is open. So on that one, you wanna program it as interior with delay instead of interior follower.